why do we even need to have techniques to study, right?
Yeah.
We've had schooling for the last 200 years. You would think that studying would be part of our DNA by now, but it isn't at all, right? We
Yeah,
all
yeah.
we all struggle to study. We all struggle to retain information. Some of us are better at it than others, for sure.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
But it's
definitely.
something that doesn't come naturally. And I've been studying. The reason for that is basically what's called the caveman brain problem,
Okay.
right? And it's something really, really, really basic, which is the fact that our brain, the hardware in our brain, isn't prepared for retaining information. Our
Yeah.
brain is prepared for survival,
Mm-hmm.
right? So we actually not the fact of retaining information that isn't essential to our survival is actually quite uh,
Intuitive to our brain.
exactly, totally counterintuitive to our nature. This is something that was, yes, studying and exams was invented and schooling was invented 200 years ago, thanks to
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Henry Ford, who needed people to be able to spend 8 hours a day in his assembly lines without questioning what they were doing. So they invented schooling.
Mm-hmm.
And 200 years ago is a long time ago, but it's not quite as long as the millions of years that our brain has actually existed. So those techniques and that imposition in our brain is relatively new, and we're
Mm-hmm.
still not used to it. So basically, our brain says, uh, you know, if you have to cross the road, you see a car coming, you instinctively know that you have to stop. You don't have
Yeah.
to learn it. You don't have to study it. You don't have to go to school to figure out that if a car comes at full speed at you, you're gonna have to stop because otherwise you're gonna get run over, right?
Yeah.
You just know that immediately. That's what your brain's made for. However, the the idea that you have to study to learn anything else, your brain's not prepared for. So it's hardwired to actually get rid of that information because it considers it superfluous and unnecessary.
Mm-hmm.
So realizing that, we have had to create specific techniques to allow the brain to slowly retain that information and not forget it.
Yeah.
And that's the
Makes
key.
sense.
The key isn't just learning the information, pass a test and then forget it. The key is to learn the information and retain it, because I'm assuming that's the point of learning, right?
Yeah. It should be. It should be, to be honest. It's not what always happens. I'm not gonna lie, but it is.
Exactly.
It is what the end goal
Exactly.
is.
Right. And in fact, there's also a more, even my more biological reason for not studying is the fact that thinking is really tiring and it
Mm-hmm.
uses a lot of energy. And your body, again, your brain and your body are hardwired to save energy and to
Mm-hmm.
retain as much energy as possible. So doing something that's not only counterproductive to the survival of your species, but also uses up a lot of energy, is doubly counterproductive. So
Yeah.
your brain and your body just say studying sucks, which it does. Let's
It
admit it.
does. I'm not gonna lie. It does. It really does.
That's the
That's the
reason
why.
why. That's the reason why studying is hard, and that's the reason why we need to study. We need to figure out studying techniques to make sure that our brain
Mm-hmm.
retains the memory,
Yeah, definitely.
right?
Now you
Um,
said you're going the scientifically proven
yeah,
methods that do not work, right?